Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome back to yet another video. My name's Josh. I'm a destination wedding and elopement photographer and videographer based out of West Michigan. And today we're diving into the specifics of my minimalist wedding photography kit. So first things first, we have to ask the question, why minimal? When I first started in the photography world, I did what probably most of you have done and bought so much camera gear. And I would bring all of that gear with me to every wedding. I remember driving to a wedding just down the street from here, and I had an entire trunk full of roller bags and lighting stands and backpacks and shoulder bags and all these accessories. And the more I started shooting, the more I realized, number one, all of that gear is freaking heavy. It's so much work to carry all of that around and drag all of that around with me for the entire day. And then two, the more I started traveling, the more I realized I wasn't using all of this stuff. I was only really gravitating towards a few lenses, a few accessories, a few things that allowed me to do my job well, and all that other gear was just getting in the way. And so the more I started traveling, the more I really wanted to design a camera kit that would all fit into a backpack. I wanted to be able to fit all of my camera bodies, lenses, lighting equipment, audio equipment, and all my clothes all into a backpack that I could throw on my back or throw in the overhead bin of an airline, and we'd be all set. This would eliminate me having to go through long lines to check baggage. It would eliminate all of the waiting for the baggage to come around the carousel. I wouldn't have to worry about any of my gear getting lost or stolen. It would always be on my person and allow the travel experience to be so much faster. So obviously, if my goal is to fit everything into a backpack that I can put in an overhead bin, your first question is going to be, what bag do you use? I've done a ton of research over the years and kind of landed on the McKinnon Nomadic 35-liter camera pack. I would say this bag is not for everyone. If you're just traveling with a ton of camera gear and you just want to pack a ton of gear into a bag, this is probably not the bag for you. If you're traveling 5 or 6 days, you need to bring a lot of clothes and some camera stuff, you're probably going to need a different bag than this bag. But for me, for these quick turnaround days where I'm flying out, shooting for a day or two, and then flying right home, it's the perfect bag. I've traveled with this all over the country and out of the country, and it's really been the ideal bag for my type of job. So a couple of quick just informational pieces right off the bat before we begin. I shoot photo and video, and I often shoot them and mostly shoot those combined. And so my kit includes a few audio pieces that are specific for video, a few lighting pieces that are specific for photo. And so if you're shooting one or the other, you might not have to have all these pieces, but this is what I bring with me everywhere I go for photo and for video. So first off, camera bodies. For the longest time, I shot on the Canon 1DX Mark II, which is behind me here on the shelf. But in 2021, I made the shift to mirrorless, and I am now shooting on the Canon EOS R3 and the Canon EOS R6. And I know the R3 is really designed for sports shooters, but I've really realized over the last couple of years that I need a camera that's designed for high frame rate, high performance output, because I'm switching back and forth between the photo and the video world so quickly on a wedding day. I need a camera with a fast buffer, with a big battery, with a high frame rate capacity, and all that was encapsulated in the R3. And so the R3 is my main shooter for weddings, and then the R6 just kind of comes in my bag with me in case the R3 breaks or something. I have a camera body that's completely capable of shooting a wedding all on its own, and both of those bodies have dual card slots, so I can back up all my work to multiple cards, so throughout the day if something happens to one of the cards, I'm still safe with the other card. In terms of lenses, I used to shoot with a bunch of zoom lenses, and I have a whole kit from 24 all the way up to 200 millimeters, and really I realized I'm kind of gravitating towards two specific lenses. Lens number one being the 35mm 1.4. I know that's a super popular lens with wedding photographers, so that's a huge piece of my kit for a lot of the wide angle stuff. It allows me to get nice and close without being too cropped in. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, I use the Canon 100mm 2.8 macro lens. It's a great lens for getting really close detail shots and that kind of thing. It's a stabilized lens, and it also allows for the extra throw and during the ceremony, or if I have to kind of step back and still have an effectively a zoom lens that'll get nice and close. I used to shoot with a 70-200mm lens, but that was just way too big and bulky. I found I'd only bring it out for a couple of shots during the day, and the 100 is just such a small, compact lens, so light, still has the image stabilization built in, fantastic sharp lens, good in low light, and it really does the trick. And then if I have room in my bag, I'll also bring my 85mm 1.4 lens. It's a great lens for portraits, great lens for just kind of getting a little bit different of a focal length between the 35 and the 100. And those three lenses are really what make up my entire bag. I usually carry a backpack or a shoulder bag with me on wedding days, and I will just hold the camera in my hand, swap out the lenses in between things, and it's good to go. If I happen to find extra space in my bag, I'll often throw my 16-35mm f2.8 lens in. Just allows me to get some super wide shots. Some of those those kind of like sweeping movements through like a venue, or if we're in a really cool situation where I want to showcase just the grandeur of a space more, that 16mm really allows that in a beautiful way. But typically I can get everything I need with the 35, the 100, and then the 85. And those are really the 3 lenses that make up my kit. So in terms of like supplemental lighting, I always bring with me one speed light. If I'm on a dance floor that's super dark, or if we have to shoot outside at night, having the ability to have a flash is super, super helpful. I found that sometimes on reception floors, they'll kill all the lights and only have colored LED lights. And so being able to like actually shine a white light onto a couple or people on the dance floor is super helpful. And then from a video perspective, I do bring this little Aputure LED light with me that's actually lighting up the cameras in the background over there. This just allows me to add a little bit of extra light on the dance floor for video if I need to. Again, I typically gravitate towards natural light. I almost never pull out the flash. I think I've used the Aputure light like twice maybe on a dance floor. I almost never use this stuff, but it's just always helpful and always reassuring to have that in the bag, and doesn't take up a lot of space, doesn't take a lot of weight. And so I always bring those with me to every wedding that I go on. In terms of audio equipment, I'm super, super minimal here. I really only bring with me my Rode VideoMic Pro Plus and a pair of Shure in-ear monitors. The reason I'm able to do this is because of the way that I build my films. I do all of my vow recording and all of my narration recording with the couple, oftentimes on a separate day from the wedding, or maybe before or after the wedding, but none of the stuff is recorded live. So I don't have to have on-person lav mics. I don't have to have ambient mics to record any of that kind of stuff. I don't have to have external recorders. I'm able to get away with just having the Rode VideoMic Pro Plus that I use for the vows, for the narration. And then if I need to record some ambient audio or whatever, that's a great mic for that as well. Every once in a while, I will bring my Zoom H6 recorder just to capture some extra ambient audio or whatever, but really I kind of get away with just the Rode VideoMic Pro Plus. Anything you've seen from me on the YouTube channel, any of my wedding films that you've heard audio, all of that's been recorded on the VideoMic Pro Plus. It's a great mic. And then I always bring some Shure little in-ear monitors just to be able to check levels and make sure that when people are talking, it's not peaking. There's not a ton of ambient audio in the mix. Those are really the only 2 pieces I bring for audio, and it does the trick for me. So then in terms of like accessory stuff, obviously there's batteries and chargers and memory cards and all that, and I make sure to have plenty of those things. I hate having to bring battery chargers, honestly. It's especially the R3, it's just a chunk of a battery charger, and I hate having to throw that in the bag. It takes up so much space, but obviously you can't really do a job without having batteries. You can't do a job without having memory cards, and so I make sure to throw all those in there. And then I bring some ND filters from a video perspective, unless you want to just close the aperture down and really not have any depth of field at all. You have to be able to darken the frame somehow, and you can't do that with the shutter speed for video. So ND filters are a lifesaver from that point. So I bring those with me everywhere I go. And really that's it. That's the entirety of my kit. It's a super stripped back, super minimal kit that it's really just the stuff I'm going to use on the day of. I'll have a backpack on my back that has my extra lenses, some batteries, extra memory cards, and that's really all I need for the day of. The microphone, the headphones, I'll use all those before the wedding or after the wedding, wherever I'm recording with the couple, and that's really everything I need. Obviously, I throw a laptop in, a charger, some hard drives, that kind of stuff. The one thing I will do with hard drives is I always bring multiple hard drives. So once I finish a wedding, I leave the footage on the memory cards. I'll back it up to multiple different hard drives, and then I have one hard drive that I put in my pocket. So it's literally on my person everywhere I go. So even if my bags got lost somehow from the overhead bin, or all that stuff got stolen, I still have literally all the footage in my pocket and we're good to go. It's just a security measure for me that just allows me to feel confident that I'm never gonna lose the couple's footage. A few things you'll notice that I don't include in my travel kit: gimbals, tripods, external lighting, a drone, all that kind of stuff is stuff I typically don't bring with me. I used to bring a lot of that stuff with me. I'd throw it in my backpack and then I would just never use it. I've just found that I'm so much more in the moment when I'm just handheld, when I'm right with the couple. It's just how my films feel like you're in the moment, and I'm not locking something on a tripod to shoot some big long wide shot. And if I don't need it, if I don't have to have it for the film, all it's doing is weighing me down, adding extra stuff that I have to bring and taking up space in my bag. So those are some things I just don't bring with me anymore. Obviously, when I shoot longer multi-day jobs where I have the space to shoot that kind of stuff, it's fun. It's fun to have a drone and incorporate those kind of shots into my work. But for the majority of my work, if I don't need it and if I don't have to have it for the shoot, I don't bring it. Obviously, I haven't chatted about clothes, and the nice thing about the Peter McKinnon Nomadic bag is that all the clothes will fit in that front zipper compartment. The one thing I have found with that is that if I'm flying on smaller regional jets, I have to be really, really careful about not unzipping and expanding that compartment because it actually won't fit in the overhead bin of those smaller jets. But as long as I'm flying on larger planes, I'm able to pack everything I need into that bag and it's all good. And that really does it. That's kind of my entire travel kit for 2022, everything that I'm bringing with me to all of my destination weddings. If you have questions on why I bring a certain piece of gear or why I don't bring a certain piece of gear, feel free to drop those in the comments. I'd love to have a conversation about that and kind of explain my process there. If you have ideas for future videos, please drop those as well. I'd love to hear those. And if you're interested in this content, if you're interested in what I'm doing, please like and subscribe. That means the world to me, helps out the channel so much. Thank you so much for checking out this video, and I will see you right back here next Thursday.